episode 74, baby.
Yo, man. You been drinking, bro?
No, sir.
Like, what's good?
Not yet. Not yet.
Came in the pot all crazy.
That's coming this weekend.
Oh, my
That is coming this weekend.
340.
Yeah, man. 40 is around the corner. God willing.
Yeah,
God willing, 40 is around the corner.
Big one.
So I'm excited about it.
The age is catching up with that beard now.
You see it. You see it. Yo, a funny story. Hold on, real quick. All right, episode 74 of the From Earth podcast.
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Julius from Earth, and I'm here with the homie Esoteric
What's going on? How we doing?
and the homie B Davis.
It was happening.
We are back in the building for another episode of the From Earth podcast.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate each and every one of you guys. Just a quick reminder, we are on YouTube. What is the From Earth podcast on YouTube? Please do not forget to like, subscribe, share, comment. We want all the feedback. We want all the smoke. And we also do the audio version for the website FromEarthPodcast.buzzsprout.com. But we are also streaming on all the digital streaming platforms: Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeart, all of them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So whatever one you listen to, whatever one you tap into, we are there. You can support the From Earth podcast just by linking, just by liking, subscribing. Y'all know how we do.
Yeah.
But this is what we got going on. So what were we just talking about?
You good, bro?
You was talking about Pops getting tied up.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to
Parenting.
Pops.
We were talking about parenting.
And we were talking about parenting. That's what we was talking about.
There it is.
So let's get into it, right?
Yeah.
Parenting.
What we got?
Fuck them kids.
Says the only guy here with no
No
children.
kids.
Exactly.
The only guy here with no children. He has absolutely no idea the daily grind and I don't want to call it a struggle, but just the responsibility that it is of being a parent.
Just wait till his Roe v. Wade catches up.
Oh, wow.
Yo, yeah, we're gonna get into Roe v. Wade too. All right, real quick. You know what? So Roe v. Wade is on the docket. All right, because we talked about this before, but we're talking about it again.
These are 10 kids better of the week.
Yeah, right, yeah, for real. The Chappelle stage jumper is on the docket. Is on the docket.
Oh, yeah? We talking about that?
We're absolutely talking about that.
All right.
Absolutely talking about that. Did y'all want to talk about what's her name? Amber Heard?
No.
And your boy, what's his name?
Johnny Depp?
Ezra Miller.
Oh, Ezra Miller.
The Flash?
Do we need to talk about that or?
No.
All right, so we won't talk about Ezra Miller.
We can spend a couple minutes on him.
But we're going to talk about the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp, and then we're going to talk about Eskimo Brothers. Just because. Yeah. This is what happens when you don't read the notes, babe. That's what happens when you don't read the notes. So parenting.
I quit.
You quit?
Yeah.
I'm
walking off the set.
He's done. He's done already. It's been like less than 5 minutes.
There's no
He's already
severance.
done.
Is it a coincidence that like the dispensaries opened up legally and now you're acting like this? Is that what's going on here?
No, yo, did y'all see them lines at the dispensaries?
Yeah. Which
Bro,
lines are you referring to, sir?
The to get in line.
Push your T lines.
The to get in lines are crazy.
I wouldn't know. I didn't go.
So I've heard.
I do not partake in that.
So I've heard.
Yeah, I was not there.
Yeah, nah. I rode. Matter of fact, I rode by the one out by you.
I'm sure you did.
I rode by the one out by. It's near the mall, man.
He was like, yo, I'm in your area. What you doing? Block.
He did not. Yo.
Block. I was like, I know where this shit's going.
First of all, I'm like, yo, what's good? Hear this guy go, yo, what's up, bro? I'm like, yo, I'm in your area. What's up? Nothing. Crickets, bro. I ain't hear back from this nigga for 5 hours.
Because he knew you was a one man half baked.
I know.
5
It's
hours.
called Cannabis right around the corner. I was like, I know exactly where he at.
Relax, bro. Relax. I was curious.
Curious.
Yeah, I bet. All right, go ahead. Get into it.
Gum
Man.
drops on the floor.
Yeah, right. So parenting. We were talking about parenting because the situation before we cut the mics on, we were talking about it, and part of what we're saying is just like having different parenting styles, man. You understand your kids. You understand your child's personalities and their attributes and their characteristics,
right.
And knowing how to address them when things come up is really important, right? Because, let's call it what it is. Like, we don't all have the same parenting style.
Right.
And so, I might address something a little bit differently than my child's mom. but understanding your audience, as you were saying, so it's like you know when what your child is capable of,
Right.
and being aware of that, you can already start to diffuse like, nah, that's not them, that's not in their nature or whatever. But more importantly, what we were talking about is the lessons that we're teaching our kids.
You know, it's crazy because we talk about different parenting styles, and you know, we're talking about a heterosexual relationship here, just so we can put it in context to our viewers. But a lot of times, kids will respect their fathers and love their mothers, and it's a different dynamic of how that changes. You know what I mean? Like when usually mothers get mad, they have to project themselves to be louder than normal. And if you keep doing that, that becomes your normal voice that kids hear. So you don't have a yelling voice anymore. That's your typical voice that they get numb to.
Okay. All right.
So it's different as if a father who normally keeps his cool or whatnot, or just even in a stern manner, you know, if you ever hear somebody like, you know, because the respect factor is there. If my father yelled at me, something's up. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, he never yells. But if he yells at me, something's up.
Yeah.
To where it's like, okay, I know I hit a breaking point somewhere. He's going to end my life. Shout out to the Bobby. But anyway.
Shout out to the Bobby.
Yeah, you got the Bobby as a dad,
Bobby.
so it's a little bit different. He might line you up at linebacker and be like, tackle me.
Hold that ball.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. But no, I mean, you know, when it comes to, you know, again, just dealing with that, it hits differently. And, you know, when you have, you know, I have 2 boys, for me to show love to them hits them differently. Mm-hmm. It's not something they're used to seeing. You know, and again, the situation we talked about is one of the situations to where I had to literally identify what was best for this. Mm-hmm. You know, do I do what the typical thing is, you know, kind of come correct, try to show them this is what the respectful thing is to do, you know, leave it at that, because he's used to that. They're used to that for me. Mm-hmm. You know, but for this situation specifically, I had to change it.
You had to lead with love.
I did.
Yeah.
I really did. And like I said, it felt different for him. It felt different for me, even having a conversation with him. But it did work out better, you know, when it was all said and done. Like, for him to do what he did after that, it was like, I've been waiting for that moment.
Yeah. The beautiful thing about being a parent in today's day and age is that we get to kind of like rewrite some of the stories and some of the narratives mm-hmm. that we were taught when we were coming up. Right. You know, being a parent back in the day, and the way that you raise your kids, you know, you went physical, you went hands-on. A lot of times, you know, as black men, we all know, you know, you got the spanking or the beating, or, you know, go get the belt, go get a switch.
And because I said so was enough of an answer.
Because I said so was a response. That was it. That ended the conversation. Right. You know, but now we get to be able to handle our children with a little bit more straight, you know, compassion.
Right.
But you still like, as a father though, like you just said, you still have to understand how to navigate the nuances of situations and circumstances, because you want your child to understand how to respond in different situations.
Correct.
There are going to be times where, you know, your child has to walk away. Mm-hmm. There are going to be times when they have to defend themselves. Yep. There are going to be times when they have to defend somebody else, and you want them to be able to understand when it's the right time to do what. You know what I mean? But like I said, you can also come with the compassion now. Right. I mean, I think part of that too, and I'll start to speak on myself a little bit more, but part of that too is probably because we're a little bit softer, you know, as a people now. Maybe not so much B, but the rest of us.
That's why I
you know,
kids.
but the rest of us, we're a little bit softer. You know, the world has kind of been a little bit compressed, you know, with social media and technology and everything like that. So we don't have to be like, you know, just straight, you know, hands-on and aggressive all the time.
But even if you, like, you know, let's just play devil's, even if you wanted to, you can't.
Well, that's the challenge.
Like, life got Tom Brady.
Yeah, the
you know what I'm saying?
The challenge of it is that, you know, if you're one of those people that still carries out or you know, uses those barbaric tactics of dealing with your children, understand there's consequences to that now.
Right.
You know, there are people, there are mandated reporters, you know, that are anywhere that to be found. So, you got to be mindful of that, and and parenting is one of those things where you should always be, growing and adapting and, learning. That's what I would think about it anyway.
When was the last time you spanked one of your kids?
Oh, it's been a long time. Number one, I haven't had to really, so thank God for that.
Right.
Early on, I was a young parent, so early on there were a lot of things that I tried to, to carry on because it was just what I knew.
Right.
And I have.
You know what you know.
Yeah, and I think I've since really tried to make the necessary adjustments to not have to do that, to talk to my kids more, to really use different circumstances as learning lessons.
Right.
So no, I'm not a hands-on parent.
Yeah,
as it relates to discipline or anything like that. But primarily because I don't have to be.
Right.
I have my oldest is 22 years old now. I got a 17-year-old, a 14-year-old, and an 11-year-old. They're all very very much in line with what it is that they're supposed to be doing.
Well, they're all taller than you, and they can all whip your ass.
That too. Yeah, I'm kind of scared, of them as a unit. You know what I mean?
Listen.
They will gang up on me. They will team up on me. So there's that.
When was the last time you killed a plant?
What, killed a plant?
Killed a plant.
I haven't killed anything yet this year.
Oh,
This year.
there's just parenting you.
Yeah. I just got out in my yard, man.
Did you?
Yeah.
How's that looking?
It's looking all right.
It's
you know
coming
what I'm
around?
saying? Yeah,
Planting all the seeds out there.
Yeah, man.
Because
Double entendre.
Double entendre.
Double entendre here going on.
Grass coming in nice, you know what I'm saying? Thicker than a single mom on OnlyFans. Lawn looking good.
Yeah.
Fertilize it this weekend, you know what I mean?
Got a big weekend plan. You got a big weekend plan?
Nah.
With your hydrangeas? Chrysanthemums?
Hey, listen, I got the lilies growing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's
Who's Lily?
Hey, man, listen, man.
Let's get into it real quick.
I can't grow some lilies? Like, another can't grow some lilies? Come on, man.
Wow.
Yeah, got lilies coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Okay, good for you.
All right, that's about all I parent is my lawn.
There
Yeah.
it is. See?
You know what I mean?
I had to make sure.
That's it.
Got you.
You got all the makings for a parent.
Yeah.
Well, we're keeping with the theme of parenting. Mother's Day's coming up. Mother's Day is coming up this Sunday.
Yeah.
Are y'all doing anything special for mom? Anything like that? I need some. I'm only asking because I need ideas.
Yeah, I was about to say, I didn't even know what was coming, bro.
Nah, that my mom made it very clear. She said, I don't care if it's your birthday. I don't care if you're going away. It's Mother's Day, and do not forget about me. That was what she said. Those were her words.
Does she have email?
Yo, have I not told you the adventures of my mother?
That's why I'm
and
asking.
technology?
Send her an e-card, and you can never tell you never sent it. As soon as she checks it, she'll think it's that year that you sent it.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, no, I don't know, man. I'm trying to think like what do I do because I have a short window of time before I have to head out.
Take her to dinner.
Well, it'd be breakfast. I'm not going to see her on Saturday. I could see her on Saturday, but I don't know.
What time leaving on Sunday?
Early.
Early?
Yeah, early. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing for my mom on Sunday, bro.
No.
I didn't even know it was Mother's Day this week.
Yo.
I didn't.
You know what? Do we need to do a wellness check?
I know that I was talking on the phone with my mom this weekend.
And
she
you
was
weren't
like,
even aware.
And she was like, just so you know. It's Mother's Day next Sunday.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Just so you know, the Sixers played that day too.
Right, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, what's the NBA schedule looking like?
Just so you know, Joel Embiid is
I'll
scheduled to be
fit you
playing.
Yeah, I'm like, I can squeeze you in at halftime. Like, you want highlights? Like, what you want highlights? Yeah.
Nah, I mean, traditionally, I would do something like we would go out to eat. I would take the kids or whatever, and we would just all go out to eat or something like that, right? But because these are different circumstances, my 40th birthday, I'm heading out.
You only get 1/40th.
Well, that was my thing. That was my thought process. My thought process was like, listen, this don't trump Mother's Day. But
Of course
then
it does.
But then I was like, you know what?
She knew who she was talking to.
Yeah,
That's what
you
it
can't
was.
really say. She knew she
knew exactly
She
what
knew
it
her
was.
audience. Like we were saying,
knew exactly
she knew her
what it
audience. So it was like she
She said,
wasn't.
my baby's not going to let me die.
Yeah, facts.
Facts.
So yeah, I got to figure out something. I probably got to put my head together with the kids, and I'm sure that they're going to try to be in my pockets. Like, oh, we need to do all this and do that. I'm pretty sure that's coming.
Yeah.
So who knows? We'll see. Y'all been shopping recently, like grocery shopping or anything like that?
Nope.
I mean, yes.
I'm only asking.
I still got to eat. Yeah.
All takeout.
I'm only asking because
I like the bags.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Have they started doing the whole like taking away, like bring your own bag?
Yeah, they have.
I was somewhere where I think I seen that sign. Like, yeah, they're not providing bags no more or something like that. Is it because they're plastic bags? They can't. Or something?
So
Like,
it's a
that was
state
going
law
on?
that Jersey is no longer permitted to use plastic bags.
Jersey bugging, bro. Because first they came for the straws and I
bro.
said
Yeah.
nothing.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And now they come for the bags.
Yo.
Like, hold up.
A lot of retailers are using paper. Other retailers like ShopRite, I mean, they can't do it in mass. They used to, but they're not doing it anymore. You are required to buy a bag, or have your own for that matter.
So that is wild and convenient.
Yeah,
And
but
no,
if you shop at Sam's Club or these other types like that, you're doing it anyway.
fam,
So
fam, listen, I go to ShopRite.
Right.
All right.
I feel you.
I walk in the ShopRite. I get my groceries. I do the little bag thing at the end. I walk out. You know, I'm not one of these people that Instacarts and orders my groceries yet. Maybe that's what I'm going to have to start doing. I'm over here.
For this inflation.
Well,
Damn that.
That's what I'm
Prices went
saying.
crazy in this
At this
car.
point, you're gonna see me carrying my groceries in my arms.
Instacart it
bro.
all, man. Let them deal with that. Listen, it makes sense.
You know, and now they get you with the, you know, you buy the reusable bags.
Yeah.
But who's gonna remember that, man? You got 1,000 things on your mind, like forget it. I'm over here complaining.
Plus, you
but
never know how many bags you're going to need anyway. Like, you just go in and you're like, all right, I got like 3 items.
That's what I'm saying.
Come on, with 15, you ain't got enough bags.
That's
What
what
you
I'm
gonna
saying. B goes in, he gets to, you know, he'll just buy like the box of ramen and
Facts.
in the case of water, he's good to go.
good
And
to
some
go.
bullets.
At the bullet store.
But the rest of us, yeah, at the bullet store. But the rest of us, you know, we got other mouths to feed. It's like, man. So no, that's the paper straws really gets me the most though.
Yo, that is horrendous, bro.
The paper straws are the worst. First of all, they're poorly constructed.
Yes.
They fall apart.
Yes.
They dissolve. They get
Yes.
stuck to your lips.
Yes.
Like
It's
nothing. There's nothing possible. I mean, nothing like positive about paper straws. Nothing. You know. And then the alternative is what you get a metal straw. So now you got to deal with the. You know, you got to disinfect that all. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Rubber straws. Like, come on, fam. Like, what are we doing?
I don't understand why they just didn't reconstruct the lid to have like some sort of like spout on it.
That's what I'm saying.
Because Starbucks probably owns that.
Or
You
how,
know
or
what
how
I'm
about
saying?
this?
Like-
Or how about just keep the straws? How about that? Like, is it really me getting my straw in my Wawa cup that's damaging the earth? Is it really that? Really?
Yes,
You know?
it's not.
Like, come on, man. Like, I really have a bone to pick about Jersey with that, with the straws and the bags.
So if I have, first of all, if you're black, you know you got somewhere stashed a whole bunch of plastic bags.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got the
know you
bags.
do.
Yeah.
So we bring them in. Are we allowed to use them?
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I got about 4 months worth of plastic bags.
Me too.
So, you know what I'm saying? So
Maybe
it's-
3 and a
it's gonna-
half.
It's gonna be September-ish before I feel this change.
Yes.
September-ish.
Yeah.
he's like, wow, I'm all the way out of bags now.
Yeah, for real. Yeah,
Whatever should I do?
listen, I got plenty of plastic bags.
I just reuse them. You
You
can't
know how
get
that
it.
goes. Yeah.
I don't know, bro. I don't know. But Jersey is getting one thing right now with this whole Roe v. Wade thing. Like the governor, what's his name? Governor
Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy. He came out and said that he is taking a stand against this Supreme Court decision, and Jersey is still open for the pro-choice, and I support that, man. To be honest, let's call it what it is, man.
So
Go ahead. Let's
I
get
looked
into
up.
it. Let's get into it.
I mean, obviously everybody's familiar with the Roe v. Wade.
No, maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. Let's give them a recap.
Okay, well, Roe v. Wade was basically a, I want to say court case, but it was a ruling basically of women's rights for their own body when it comes to abortion. That's
This
stood.
has stood for
About 50 years.
50 years or so.
Yeah.
So technically, it's still new if you think about it. Like, there's a lot of things that fall in context of what is still relevant and new to this. Like 50 years ago, a woman couldn't make a choice for herself based on our government.
Right.
You know what I mean? Hell, almost 100 years ago, we couldn't be integrated.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're taking steps backwards right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It starts with this. And obviously, this is not going to be all 50 state mandated. It's pretty much going to fall in the lines of whatever states are going to constitute that form of legislation to be followed. Much like, what was the other one that was like that too? The mass mandates and things like that.
Right.
But this is way severe than that, obviously. But it opens up a very this is what it is. A lot of people are saying, because I see a lot of Twitter folks saying, what's a white man going to say? It was white supremacist and, about the white women and things like that. And maybe they failed to realize that Clarence Thomas was one of the people who voted for it. So this is not the white people. Like, let's just get that out the way. This is not. Clarence Thomas was one of the 5.
I feel like we may have bumped into an argument here, but let's get it.
Whatever you want.
Let's get it.
But he was 1 to 5, 1 to 7. It was 7 to 3, wasn't it?
So there's 9 justices, but it was allegedly a 5-4 decision.
I remember it was 7 to 2 or something?
It was 7. Roe v. Wade was 7-2.
That's what I'm thinking. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Roe v. Wade was 7-2. But remember, this is not a binding. This isn't a binding decision yet. This was a leaked
Right, it was a
draft.
leak.
This was
So
a leak.
so we don't actually know if this is the actual decision,
Correct.
or if this was just they wrote this in advance to have it in case this is the decision. You know what I mean? We don't really know yet.
Right. I mean, but it's out there. This is something that is being
Definitely.
discussed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's only a matter of time before, what the hell was it? Brown versus Board of Ed. That was the integration one.
Yep.
And before that was the reason Brown, it was it wasn't Presley. Who was it? I'm gonna look that up, but it was something else. It was like in 1896 or something like that, which basically gives a legal segregation available. I'll look that up in a second.
Okay.
But again, we're talking in a span of literally 200 years, less than 200, but 170, where all these things are happening, and now we're going back on where we started. It starts with this, leaked or not. What's next? Because interracial marriages could be one of them.
Loving v. Virginia.
Anything that has come from the Obama administration as far as gay marriage, civil unions, things of this nature, are under attack. Regardless of how you sway, it's the bottom line is these are things that are being voted into as far as how humans are supposed to live based on the perception of others.
Right.
So I don't understand that. And I think we've talked about this in the past as far as like knowing what your money is funneling. You know what I mean? What are we doing? Like my money is not funneling any of this, but I don't have a say in it. So it's it's so charismatic of our government to allow, first of all, the leak.
Right.
Well, there's questions. There are questions as to how it was leaked, and so you had already just mentioned Chief Justice Clarence, right? And the connection there is his wife Jenny, right? So a lot of people suspect that she could be the reason.
They think she's the leaker?
They suspect that somehow.
That's
right?
crazy.
Listen, I don't know.
Wow.
He's the conspiracy theorist. What you think?
Yeah.
I mean, she went from insurrectionist to abortion rights leaker. Like I don't understand.
You don't see the connection, right?
I don't see the connection of why she would.
It's
do
so
that.
obvious.
I mean, because realistically,
Let's get into it.
Like you gotta think about it, right? These justices probably don't sit there and write their own decisions all the way out. They all have clerks and staff and stuff like that. So there was probably several hands that decision went through in that office. As far as the drafts of being written, revisions and whatnot. So the question is, who in there decided to tank their entire legal career to leak this
let this
decision
out?
out? You know what I'm saying? Was it purposeful? Was this one of those things that it's fuel for both sides now? That now both Democrat and Republicans can use this for fundraising, right? Because I imagine that Democrats are making a lot of money this weekend. You know what I'm saying? As far as their efforts to get into these midterms and steal some more seats, right? And I imagine that for Republicans, turning away from talking about Trump all the time, talking about who's the dude that said there was all the coke orgies going on? You know what I'm saying? Bro. Madison, whatever his name is. You know what I'm saying? That dude.
He's like, let me find out.
Yeah, bro.
Like,
Like,
let me look this up.
you know what I'm saying? You got that happening. You got right. Yeah, he said there was, somebody invited him to a bunch of coke orgies and shit. And I'm like, you said the quiet part out loud, bro. We all knew that was happening, but you ain't have to. Like, no one should be shocked thinking that senators are doing cocaine and dealing with hookers. Yeah, no one should be shocked. You got Matt Gaetz running around here, paying for sex with underage girls, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene on trial for being an insurrection. So, like, there's a lot of bad news on the Republican side, is what I'm saying, right?
That court case was Plessy versus Ferguson.
Plessy versus Ferguson.
That was 1896.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is just a smoke screen for us to turn the corner on the $33 billion that we just said we're going to give Ukraine.
Yep.
Right, because now they need stuff to run on. A couple weeks ago they was talking about weed again. Legalizing it. Bernie's out here talking about get rid of the student loan debt and all of that, and now abortion rights. Right, so these are the bellwether topics for fundraising for both parties.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is. If this is legit or not, because nothing leaks out of the Supreme Court, bro.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Nothing leaks out of the Supreme Court. Now all of a sudden this leaked. I mean, crazy if true, but at the same time, like, nobody should be shocked that this is happening.
At this point in time, with the politics that we've been having
You
in
know
the
what I'm
past
saying?
10 years,
Yeah, like, nobody should be shocked that this is occurring. Like, did we really think that, when Brett Kavanaugh got up there and his confirmation hearing was like, oh, no, this is settled case law. I would never overturn that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When Amy Coney Barrett said the same thing. They all say the same thing, right? They all get up there and say, oh, no, it's settled case law. Why would I do that? Da-da-da-da-da. But at the same time, listen, both Democrat and Republicans have had majority houses majority Congress in the last 50 years. And nobody codified this into law. And that's really where the sticking point is. The Supreme Court isn't there to create law.
Correct.
Necessarily. Right. And so you have some very good points when people say, well, technically this should be a states' rights issue because the Congress never passed a law about it. And they're not entirely wrong in that point.
so the other point with that would be is if it goes to Supreme Court after the state.
What do you mean?
So state rules, for instance, abortion's legal. Someone wants to pursue it past the state.
Right.
It goes to the Supreme Court and they voted otherwise.
Right.
So because again, they're saying basically it's criminal at this, allegedly we're going to say, if it goes.
So they're not necessarily saying that it's criminal. They're saying it's not an inherited right from the Constitution as an enumerated power to people. They're not saying it's a criminal activity. They're just saying you aren't guaranteed the right based off of. I think in Roe v. Wade, they tried to say this falls under like your right to privacy.
Correct.
Right, and that's the same
14.
thing. That's the same thing they based like gay marriage off of.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so they're trying to say that this shouldn't fall under
But see, that
that
doesn't
particular
fall. I
statute.
don't understand how that marriage would fall under that in privacy because that's not private if you're filing for a state document or document to get married. That's public knowledge at that point.
Right.
So that I wouldn't qualify that one as a article or not Article 14, but 14 on the Constitution.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily a legal scholar, so I don't understand the arguments necessarily as to how they justify them. I was actually really surprised, like as I'm listening to people talk about this yesterday, right? And I was like, how has nobody made an interstate commerce clause argument on behalf of pro-choice abortion rights in front of the Supreme Court yet? You know what I mean? Because that to me is like the slam dunk. Like, if you're telling me that, you got states like Texas that say, well, if you travel anywhere, even outside of Texas, to get an abortion and somebody knows about it, anybody in the United States can report it back to Texas and you owe them money.
Yeah.
Like, that's definite interstate commerce clause territory right there. Where you're talking about things crossing state lines or people outside of your state doing things. Like, so I feel like that's the easiest avenue.
Side note, do you think this is kind of coincidental that this happens all during the possible same year that the male contraceptive might be available?
No, I think this is this is all a power grab. This is so much of a power grab. They're so pissed off at Georgia and what Stacey Abrams did and flipping those 2 seats that this is the direct response to that, right? This is now I have to put you back in your place. And historically, this has worked well on white women, but it has not worked well necessarily on the other groups that they try to place this over top of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, since I guess even before civil rights and even when you're talking Jim Crow era, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, they tried to crush African Americans, right? They've been trying to crush Hispanics. Mexicans, Puerto Ricans,
Right.
whatever. You know what I mean? And it hasn't necessarily worked. Like, we don't live in fear, I don't think, of the white patriarchy.
Right.
But if you look at the exit polls for who voted for Trump, and people are going to start looking at that 50% plus of white women that voted for Trump directly against their self-interest, then you start to say, well, maybe it is working against that group. Just from a political standpoint. You know what I'm saying? From a political standpoint, like if you have someone like we literally listened to the guy say he wanted to grab somebody by the pussy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? On the Access Hollywood tapes, like it's on tape.
Nah. He said it was locker room talk. He said that was locker room talk.
I don't know what kind of locker rooms you've been in. you know what I'm saying? But like, if you want locker room talk as your president, like as far as I know, that's the type of conversations that women say they don't want us having out loud and castigating them and speaking of them as their sexual objects, right? So then 50% of them turn around and vote for the guy who says it. Why? You know what I'm saying? When it's directly against yourself, like when he's telling you he's directly against your self-interest. You know what I mean? When his view for making America great is taking women out of the workforce and staying at home and being stay-at-home moms, and you can be pregnant and barefoot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, listen, I don't know, but I feel like that's what this is now. It's putting people back in place, and you have all these people that are running behind him and saying, "Oh, well, the Constitution doesn't say you can have abortion," and being constitutional originalists and whatnot. And most of those people are, again, part of the white patriarchy.
Right.
And they can hide behind the Constitution because the Constitution itself, the original document, was tailored for them.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Women were left out of it. Black people were left out of it. Immigrants were left out of it for the most part.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. And that's why they can use that as a cloak to hide behind these arguments to make.
I think we've all sat here up here on this platform before, and we've talked about the fact that needs to be, the whole entire Constitution needs to be rewritten
Oh, yeah.
to be more conducive to everything that's going on nowadays. Because, I mean, again, it's like, to correlate to parenting, like we can't do what we used to do back in the day for disciplining to what we're doing with nowadays for our kids.
Right.
We're not living the same lives we were 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago,
Right.
100 years ago, 200 years ago. We're not living those same types of lives. We're not bartering in the system. We have a different currency. We have different expansions. We have different countries, interests, things of these natures to where things that are, well, funny thing is, if people allow the Constitution to be written, then they have to accept CRT, but that's never going to happen.
Well, right.
So it's all one and the same.
You know what the funny thing is, though? Because if we were to take the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, all that, all the amendments, all the stuff that we have now, and we looked at it and we could come to an agreement that this just covers everybody, we'd be fine.
Of course.
The Constitution is actually an amazingly flexible document.
Oh, yeah.
Right? In less than 5,000 words. It's an amazingly flexible framework that was written 200 years ago, where so much of it can still apply. Like that alone is crazy. You know what I mean? But because people want to...
Well, it's the abuse of it is what the problem is.
Exactly, because people want to look at it and still use it for the cover of, their racism, their xenophobia, their bigotry, their homophobia, or what have you. And they can look at, the original text and decide, nope, I'm going to take this as literal as possible. Then that's the point that you have to say, okay, well, then maybe we need something new. But the second that you try to create something that is regimented and you try to include it, there's always going to be something you forget. Right? There's going to be a situation that we can't think of that's happening 50 years from now.
That's exactly why new precedents are set.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and that's the thing.
Yeah.
So it's up to politicians now to be able to look at this and say, hey, this does cover everybody, and stop being, quote unquote originalists, which is really just being white supremacists.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it comes down to.
It's interesting because we talked about this before, and we'll tie it up again here as far as the whole abortion conversation.
Yeah.
Once again, like we've said in the past, it literally should be a choice. It literally should be a decision.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be anything, to legislate about it.
Right.
If you call it
Shouldn't be a topic of conversation.
It shouldn't be
anyway.
a topic of conversation. No. But it continues to be like you said, because it's one of those power grab type of topics,
right?
And people can hide behind the literalness of
Right.
the Constitution.
Right.
So yeah, that's what that is. Obviously, there's going to continuously come around, but you know where we stand, or at least you know where I stand on it.
Listen, I think that if this decision is real, and if they really are about to overturn it, I think that the midterms are going to be crazy, and we're going to see a whole lot of new gun regulation right afterwards.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? It's going to end up being a tit for tat scenario.
You think so?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, we'll see. Like you said,
Because neither side want this, right? Like you haven't really seen Republicans, like senators or whatever, openly rejoicing about this decision. Like there's been a few that have said we don't really want this as a midterm conversation. You know what I mean? They don't want this conversation,
right.
Because now some of them are going to have to see. They've been able to hide behind the fact or run on the fact that, oh yeah, I would totally do this thing, knowing they never would actually have to do
right.
that thing. How many of them have wives that have had abortions or have had daughters that have had abortions? You know what I'm saying? And so what happens when those skeletons start to come out, or have had mistresses
That have had abortions.
that have had abortions? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What happens when those things come out and you want to be, a quote unquote pro-lifer or pro-birther,
Right.
as I like to call them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because they're not pro-life.
Yeah, they're not pro-life. Literally,
There's nothing else about their platform that
Right.
is pro-life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kids are still getting shot up in schools. So what happens when those skeletons come out of the closet?
Yeah.
Right? And you've been saying, oh, you're pro-life, pro-birth, whatever, all this time, but yet you've been participating in
Right.
these things
Yeah.
at the same time.
Well, there's consequences to everything.
Yeah.
There's consequences to everything, and I'm going to use that to spin into another topic.
Yeah.
The consequence of attacking Dave Chappelle on stage during one of his shows.
Yeah.
The consequence was very real for one person.
Yeah.
The dude, there's. First of all, did y'all see Buddy's arm?
No.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Dude, who? First of all, let's talk about it like this, right? Because obviously, there's going to be connections to Will Smith walking on stage and
That's exactly
slapping
what that
Chris Rock, right?
Which is crazy because these are two way different
They're,
scenarios.
they are. They're very different scenarios.
Very different
but there's going to
scenarios.
be people that want to join the two. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about this real quick.
Yeah.
We said it before that words words can lead to people feeling a certain kind of way.
Yes.
Actions have consequences. This is one of those where dude messed around and he found out.
Yes.
You run up on stage on somebody who's first of all, let's talk. Dave Chappelle's a big dude anyway.
Yeah.
Like he's just like an imposing presence anyway. But you know he's going to have security there at a show. What was this person thinking, right?
That's honestly what I want to know. Like, why did he do it?
So I don't know all the details, and we'll get into it a little bit. But I really just want to talk about this too. Like the way that he left, this show.
Yeah.
It was like, I hope that everybody was able to see the visual. Buddy's arm was like dislocated and turned around.
Yeah, John was reversed.
Yeah,
bro.
it was reversed. It was
You know what I'm saying?
literally
like
reversed.
somebody just took it off and stuck it back on.
Yeah, they took off and beat him with it and then put it back on.
Disrespectful.
In the opposite direction.
Disrespectful.
Right? Face all beat up and everything like that.
Yeah.
Here's what it comes down to. If you're another one was the dude that was antagonizing Mike Tyson on the airplane.
Oh yeah, bro.
We didn't get a chance to
Mike
talk about
Tyson,
that.
Yeah,
A
bro.
dude was on video, like sitting behind Mike Tyson on the airplane.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of like antagonizing him and stuff like that. You could hear Mike, yo, leave me alone, like relax, like be easy, be easy.
Right.
Yeah.
And he had enough. He had enough, and he turned around, and Mike Tyson did what Mike Tyson does.
Facts, bro.
You know what I mean? But here, like you
Bit
have
his ear.
you have several examples. You have several examples of what not to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And like we said, we don't really know the motives. I suspect that the guy and Mr. Prosperity, you can let me know too. But I suspect that the guy that ran up on stage at the Chappelle show may have been part of a certain group of people, and that this was done out of kind of like at a protest.
Which you know what? It'll be very interesting because I think I'm assuming you are thinking that he's transgender. Is that what you're saying?
or part of
Part of that community, the
right.
QIA plus?
Correct.
Okay. So Dave said that right afterwards, jokingly, right? Like right after it happened, he was like, it was a trans man. You know, and he's been getting skewered all day for
laugh.
saying it. And I'm just like, that's the most Dave Chappelle thing.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the most Dave Chappelle thing he could say in that moment right there, bro. Like, I was like, only him. Only him. Because he's just like Dave Chappelle's villain origin story has been amazing.
Facts.
It started when they canceled the Chappelle show.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
There it is.
It's been amazing. Like, Dave Chappelle has told you he doesn't, and I mean, he's been telling you he doesn't care about none of this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he does not. He's willing to throw this all away, and he's been willing to throw it all away. You know what I mean? To maintain who he feels he is as a person.
Right.
And right or wrong, listen, I'm not part of that community, so I can't. I'm not going to speak for them, and I'm not going to speak against them as far as what they're allowed to be offended by or what they find offensive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if they find it offensive, they do, and they can take that up with Dave. And maybe that's what this dude was doing. You know, but we don't know that yet. But I just him saying that afterwards, I was just like,
That's
only him
Chappelle,
would continue to invite that type of that vitriol.
But that's like
You know what I'm saying?
that's
Like, it's
like
crazy.
the protesters with the NBA games. What team was that? Was that
The Timberwolves.
That Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
Where these people keep running out onto the court.
Yeah.
You know, at a protest of the owner.
Yeah.
Yo, having like a chicken slaughterhouse or something. I don't even know what it
Yo,
was.
so his birds all caught bird flu.
Okay.
And so he like turned off the AC in the chicken coop, and they all like smothered themselves and suffocated, which is like I guess an inhumane way to kill a whole bunch of chickens. I mean, you have to once they have bird flu, but I guess that was an inhumane way to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Listen,
Is there a
I don't
certain way it's
share
supposed to be?
share that sentiment for but I don't want to speak.
Everybody's
out.
a real life Temple Grandin now. Like,
Facts, But I guess what I'm saying is that listen, I hope people understand. Like these protests are being done for a reason.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. We can get into it.
Here's the thing, because that really wasn't as big a story as I thought it could. This happened about 4 times.
Yes.
Right? 4
Yes.
different times, and I feel like it wasn't a big enough story.
That's what
for the fact that somebody like attempted to chain themselves to the basket.
Chained themselves in the
Somebody
basket.
glued their hand to the
themselves
court.
floor, ran out onto the court. Yeah, it's happened. It's happened several
Multiple times.
And somehow they continue to be able to spin away from it. In the public eye.
But what's crazy is like we had a whole contingent of people who were like, "Oh, I don't want politics in my NBA." Right? The NBA isn't a place for protests and this and that and da 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 da. When the whole George Floyd nonsense was going on, as far as the players and them putting Black Lives Matter on the court and all that kind of stuff. But you have people running up on the owner of an NBA team 4 times on nationally televised games, and we don't talk about that.
Again, Minnesota is just
somehow we
setting
brush
off
that
again.
to the side. Like that's wild.
It's Minnesota, bro.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
yo.
man.
That's good.
Minnesota is setting the
It's
trends for
something in the
everything that
water.
comes.
It's something in the water
because
out
they
there.
don't give a fuck. It's Minnesota, bro. What else is going on out
It's
in Minnesota?
freezing cold.
There is
That's what-
nothing happening in. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. There is
Somebody's
nothing.
going to bring a live Timberwolf to the game. No, I'm
Yo,
just-
that might have to happen.
I'm not trying to encourage anybody to bring any
I'm
animals.
encouraging. Bring that shit. You know what I'm saying? Bring that shit, please.
No,
but
but-
it's
but-
Minnesota, bro. There's nothing happening out
But
there.
no, it's a thing, right? It really is a thing, and it's like, at some point, the NBA has to address this. The Minnesota team, at some point, it has to be a thing. But I guess we'll come back to the whole running up on stage or just anything, man. Like these are dangerous, treacherous times, and
Listen, I'm not mad at it because at the end of the day, look, I firmly believe, children aside, right? Obviously, you guys talked about raising your kids and not having a corporal punishment.
well, I'm
and
not
all
teaching
that,
my
and
kids
that's-
to run out into a
No, but what I'm saying
Not
is
doing that.
What I'm saying is more people need to get hit in the mouth. That's what I'm saying. That this is the point that we're at. Like I'm tired of these people that are going around saying, "Oh, words don't really matter. Words, you can't hurt somebody with words." Whatever. Nah, fuck that, bro.
Oh, wait, we're talking about comedians? Or are we talking about just
I'm
general?
talking about in general.
Because like I said, the trend right now more or less is comedian based. I mean,
Well, that's just because it's a trend of 2.
it's a trend.
You know what I'm saying? It's a trend of 2, and this
It's
is
less than a month and we have 2 incidences.
2 completely separate incidences,
2
bro.
prolific comedic or comedic talent.
So
we're not doing that. Chris Rock said something specifically about Will Smith's wife.
But what I'm saying is, regardless of what that was said, bottom line is action was taken. Excuse me. And then from that, 3 weeks later, this shit pops off. Maybe 3 weeks. So I'm just looking at like, okay, so now it's like, if this happened to Will Smith, what's the worst thing that happened to him from the public eye is he's no longer part of the guild. Okay, who cares? That's it. No charges were pressed. He goes on with his life. Will Smith's not losing sleep over this. These people who are jumping on stage are not going to lose sleep over this. Much like Chappelle's probably not going to lose sleep over this. So it's going to start another trend of, if people are feeling uncomfortable with certain things, that we can do something about it in a field that is professed as just that.
It's not.
Comedy is made to take, again, I said before, to take those real life issues and make fun of them, put them on the platform. That's what comedy stems from, okay? Whether it be from transgenders, racism, white women, black men, black women, whatever, pick a topic, it doesn't matter. It's pretty much all been discussed across the board by somebody.
I hear you.
And because one time someone decided his feelings were hurt because talking about his spouse, and so he did something, and very minimal happened to him. Now all of a sudden everybody's got, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of this myself, and we're gonna protest and we'll stand up there because we don't like what he's saying. Come on, man, it's starting something that's now people like you said.
So you think Will Smith set this precedent?
Yeah, I do.
That's what you're standing on.
That's what I'm saying.
Will Smith set this precedent.
But I said that when it happened. I was like, this is going to change the landscape of comedy. Or not.
Big.
This does not change the landscape of comedy. Here's the thing. Everybody wants to have jokes, and that's cool. But like, there's jokes that we can make at this table amongst ourselves that if somebody outside of this table tried to make, they catch in the Timberlands. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. It's only funny if both sides agree that it's funny. And so when you have comedians that are making, like, listen, Dave Chappelle can make jokes about black folks, right? Because we all black and we can all sit and laugh about that, right? There are jokes that Dave Chappelle can make that other white comedians cannot make about black people. We will not find them funny because they don't have the accreditation to make the joke. And so if you have the LGBTQ community saying you don't have the accreditations to make this joke, that's not necessarily up to us to say, but he's funny, so it's okay.
Chappelle, this is not the first time Chappelle says something about that community.
But that's part of the problem.
So if they felt that bad or that adamant about it, what they did, or however long this was, what they did for that incident should have happened instead of protesting. Someone should have just walked up, smacked you in the face, for that matter. But they all walk out, Netflix protesting all this type of things.
He literally talked about that at one of his previous specials, how he had crowds of people who were ready to come at him.
Ready?
Because of this.
Nobody did anything.
So because they didn't do it the first time, they lose their right to ever be upset about it again?
All I'm saying is it's a second opportunity. And now that someone already did it, it makes it a little bit easier.
Listen, let me say this much too. Like we all find the jokey jokes funny, right? Until it does get to the point where there's times where listening to those Chappelle specials, where I do a thing. I'm cringing a little bit, like, yo, that's like I'm laughing, but I'm not going to laugh publicly. You get what I'm saying? Because it is borderline offensive. And he understands that. And he's also said that he does not care. Right. Like B just said, he'll throw it all away. But that still doesn't discredit the level of offense received by said community, right? And at any point, anybody may have tried to run up on him before. We just didn't know before. Now, because it is one of these hot button issues and these hot topic items, and here he is again. Somebody decided to do it publicly on stage. Now, it didn't work out for him, but at the same time, we're talking about it. At the same time, eventually, at some point, this is all going to come to a head, right? We're talking about communities like B just. I think he made a good point, and I think you're right too. Let me say this too. I think that you're absolutely correct that there are spaces that should be left for being just kind of like the what do you call it? The purism, the purity of it. Like comedy has a pure nature to it when it's done correctly. But where I agree with B is that we all know that if Jim Carrey made some of the same jokes that Dave Chappelle makes about the African American community, it's not being received the same, it's not being accepted, and chances are somebody at some point is going to be like, "Yo, I want to." He got to run me to fade.
All right, so here's a question. So if Chappelle's, forget Chappelle, let's just use any random comedian, decides to say something about a certain group, and we are in the crowd, do we have a certain level of responsibility to or not to laugh based on the fact that we support this person?
You find it funny, you find it funny. You know what you're getting when you come to
That's
a
not what
Chappelle
I-
show.
So, correct, you do, right? But then to not hold the same level of accountability that these people are too, what I'm saying is you're accepting how he's behaving in regards to whatever description or topics he has about whatever group that may be about. You're comfortable letting him talk about that. You're comfortable viewing. You're comfortable giving that person your money, so he can say these types of things.
Yeah,
like we said.
But
know
if
your
I'm not,
audience.
if I'm not the one that's offended, right? Like, no, listen. If I'm not the one that's offended, he's making these statements, these comments, right? That I know that are part of his routine. All right, like if I pay my money, I know what I expect to see. Just like when I show up to a 76ers game, I expect to see Joel Embiid out there putting up 40 and 15.
So if you're saying if it doesn't affect you, you don't care.
I'm not saying if it doesn't affect me. I'm saying that I know what he does. If I am opposed to him, I'm not going to support him.
Correct.
But at the same time, these other people understand they can when you what do you call it? When you mobilize as a group, right? When you mobilize, it's proven that you can get things done more effectively than if I'm just one person that's offended.
So I'm trying to understand the fact that if someone says, I know what this person does, is this particular group being oversensitive?
You say oversensitive. I'm not following. You're
If
saying
you-
oversensitive.
Like I said, because we can hear any joke and say, hey, it's cool, it's whatever. Doesn't affect me. He's funny to me. But then a certain group feels that it's not right. Do you feel like that group is being oversensitive?
No. I don't feel like they're being
What I'm saying is,
oversensitive.
where does that transition from yourself as the person who doesn't really feel what they feel? What's the correct path for that person who supports this person over here, the comedian, versus the group he's offending? What type of support where do you stand?
There's
between
nothing there. Dave Chappelle fans don't have anything to do with like if they support his comedy, they support him as a comedian. They show that by buying a ticket, by showing up to a show, by selling out a tour. That's how they show that. They don't have anything to say about, oh, well, he's offended the LGBTQ community, so I have to stand in solidarity with them, unless they choose to. That's the beauty of it all, right? You have a choice. Just like Dave Chappelle has a choice whether to make the joke or to not make the joke.
See, that's a very slippery slope with that because, again, I deal with everything in black and white. Now, no pun intended, but but in this context, we're going to keep it to that, black and white. If we are a part of a group that is being put down, abused, and talked about on a consistent basis, and we're looking for help, and let's just use the Black Lives Matter for that moment, because it's the only market that we could all understand specifically. And we're looking for the support from others. And other people are saying, that's not me, you guys can deal with that. And that's where you get the All Lives Matter groups from. You know what I'm saying?
No.
It's in a similar context.
It's not.
Of what,
Listen,
because-
all lives matter and Black Lives Matter are two separate groups, right? There's still a third portion over here, or maybe even a fourth portion over here, right? That these people don't fall in line with either. It's their choice.
The viewpoint of one, though, can sway the many, right? That's what happened to Hitler, for that matter. It's like he did exactly
How
that.
we go from
No, what
Chappelle
I'm saying is
to
because,
Hitler,
listen,
bro? What is happening?
He took an entire group, and people followed this man, and it ostracized his entire group.
Did Chappelle,
And all I'm saying is-
did Chappelle bring gas chambers to his show?
My guy, we're talking about the support you're talking about. You're saying your dollar supports this person, and you're okay with that dollar supporting this person. This group over here feels a certain type of way. You can take that principle and go anywhere down history for the same things. The support of one. People who supported Trump don't like other groups.
So am I
So what I'm
supposed
saying
to go out and just slap Trump supporters?
Listen, I'm not saying that. I'm trying to understand the responsibility of the supporter at this point. It's like, if you're saying that, where do you fall? With this group, with Dave Chappelle specific now, you're saying that it's okay, as you understand your audience, what Dave Chappelle is going to say with Dave Chappelle. You're not holding yourself responsible for that. You may support him, but you're not holding yourself responsible.
I'm
So
not,
just
because
saying,
I'm not responsible for what Dave Chappelle says.
Hold up. What supporters of oppression have ever held themselves responsible?
No.
Ever? Like that never happened.
I understand.
So that's an invalid question to ask, bro. Like you're this is how the world works. People will say, if this does not affect me, I don't care. Like that's literally where we're at in the space and time right now for everything.
Correct.
So Chappelle's no different.
Okay,
You know
I
what I'm saying?
understand.
Like-
Then that's what I'm saying. We're keeping this group, and again, because of what happened, so it all ties back to this group did something because someone else did something.
Okay.
It's starting a trend now because it's happened again less than a month, give or take. We'll just call it 30 days. So the next time another group feels a comedic whatever takes part, has the opportunity to do the same thing because nobody's being made on this. This was a one-off case that happened in another isolated incident. Second time around for the same group, assuming that's correct. Okay. What's next? Chappelle's going to continue to do what Chappelle does, and he still may offend the same groups, but there's not going to be that much change. So my question comes down to, what is it that is going to come from all this? What is the next trend that comes from all this?
So you're operating under the assumption that number one, this person was trans and part of that community, and that's why.
No, I said I don't know.
Well, yeah, I threw that out there. Like we don't know for
I
certain.
don't.
I don't know, but either way, I don't think you can take a personal attack on somebody versus a generalized attack and say that they're similar because people were in the same genre of job title. Like these are two still very separate, distinct incidents, and so just combining them for the sake of expediency doesn't really do anything for the argument.
Well, I mean, of course, there's separate instances, but it's still in the realm of the same platform, comedy.
Well, I think here's my take to try to answer your question, right? That if I am in support of what the protest is for this group that feels it, that is offended, then yes, at that point I have a choice to say I can stand with them and no longer support Dave Chappelle as a comedian, right? Or I can say that's not a cause that I can get behind. And I don't have this just blanket responsibility to jump into every.
No, I mean, I'm not saying any one person does, but we still have to hold ourselves accountable to what we support ourselves or put our
but like I just said, right? There's going to come a point. There's going to come a time where Dave Chappelle is going to have to make a decision. He's obviously made that decision. He's going to continue with this type of material the way that he has, right? And like I said, if you're one of those people who says that, oh, well, I'm going to continue to support because I like Dave Chappelle, then that's what you do. If you're one of those people that says, I like Dave Chappelle, but I can't continue to get behind this because it's openly becoming more and more noticeable that a certain group of people finds him to be offensive, then you make a choice at that point, right? If you're asking me what choice I'm making right now, that's a different thing.
No,
you know what I mean? But generally, you're asking overall, what's the responsibility of the person that supports Dave Chappelle? They don't have a responsibility. They can either continue to support him or not support him.
Right.
That's really what it comes down to.
That's it.
You know?
And if the people who are upset enough continue to be upset and showcase their frustration, then maybe that pushes him to change. Maybe that pushes venues to not book him or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's at that point, that's up to them, I guess, to make that point.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're talking like morally and ethically, where do you
Right.
stand? Because there's a greater good here.
Right.
I think that the point that Dave Chappelle made before was that we pick and choose when we
Exactly.
want to be morally
Yes.
and ethically aligned.
Yes.
That was the whole point why he said he's going to continue to do this
Yes.
the way that he's done it.
Right.
You feel me? Like, so it's like this is his protest to the protest of, we
Right.
pick and choose, like when we want to be morally aligned.
Right.
So it's almost like a psychological game back and forth at this point. But like you said, like B said, whether I continue to, pay for specials or go to shows or whatever, is only going to be determined by the availability of the shows, the availability of the specials. Venues continue to book them. They continue to sell out. His shows continue to be popular. It's going to continue to be around there. you know?
So do you think do you think this is it for any comedian for that matter? Just kind of
No,
again, isolated incidences, or do you think this is
No.
gonna be more
I think that
opportunities coming up?
it's important. I think that it's important for each and every single, artist in general to understand what their material is and who their audience is, right? It's important for them to know that because at some point this can pop off. This can pop off anywhere. This could have happened anywhere. I don't know where they were at when this happened, but this can literally happen anywhere. Like you're talking about venues with double-digit thousands of people around or whatever, thousands, hundreds, whatever it is, versus however many security you can bring in. There's never going to be enough people you can have that's going to protect you against the masses.
Right.
So you have to understand your people. And only certain people can get away with this too. Let's call it what it is, right? Like if you're doing a Laugh Factory over here in Philly, you got to be mindful that you might not be Chappelle level where you can get away with this.
It's real small in there too.
You know what I mean? So it's like you gotta understand who you are and where you're at. And Dave Chappelle has already he's clearly made that known. This is why I go back to the whole Chris Rock and Will Smith thing. I don't agree with Will walking up in real time on the stage and doing what he did. But I do agree that he had to press Chris because this has been an ongoing issue, and I think that the reaction and the response that everybody else had is very indicative of what people have kind of felt behind the scenes about this person for a while. Not to say it makes it right, but there was something else there, right? But no, comedians, y'all better know your lane. Cat Williams said, "Be funny." You got to learn to adapt. You got to learn to adjust. And if you can't, you're gonna phase yourself out one way or another. To the protesters of Dave Chappelle and his material, y'all got to find another way. you got to find another way. I'll tell you that much.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Like running up on stage is not gonna get it done because had this been a different comedian, one of the ones that keeps that thing on them, this could have turned out even worse.
Thanks.
So that's where I'm at with that.
Listen, at the same time where people were writing think pieces about Will Smith slapping Chris Rock for talking about his wife, Ezra Miller was out here on a virtual crime spree.
On a tear. He was on a tear
You know what I'm
in
saying?
Hawaii.
Slapping people over the entire island of Hawaii multiple times. Getting arrested multiple times.
Yeah.
I saw 0 think pieces on this.
Yeah, because people, I don't know.
0.
Couldn't catch the flash.
You know what I'm saying?
Flash.
So it's like he's just out here at karaoke bars just swinging on
Facts,
everybody.
bro, facts.
And nobody wants to have a conversation about that though.
Yeah, there's some wild things happening
You know
out
what I
here,
mean?
man.
So-
There really is some wild things
Yeah.
happening out here. These are different times, man. These are different times. I do support defending yourself. I do support, being responsible for your words and for your actions.
Absolutely.
That's just where I don't think that's ever changed.
Right.
You got to be responsible for your words and your actions.
Yeah. And also I don't put comedy in the realm of something that is going to rock the social fabric of our country, right? In the same vein that like news and politics does, right? Like I think comedy is important, but is comedy really changing the landscape of everyday lives based off of what comedians are saying?
Well, no, and I'm glad you said it because it never has.
Right.
And it never should. We're polarizing these incidences is what we're doing.
Right.
But that's now becoming talk because there are groups involved.
Right.
And
Well,
that's
because-
where they're trying to align the two. And that's why I'm like, come on, man. Like,
Well, because it's black people, bro. That's what it is.
That's exactly what that
like
is.
comedy is great and comedy is fun and comedy is entertaining. We all love laughing at stuff, right? But at the end of the day, this isn't where the narrative is of where we are as a society in respect to this is going to either further an agenda
Right.
or take away from someone's agenda.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like Dave Chappelle has said whatever he's wanted to say for the last 30 plus years. But we just had a leaked draft of Roe v. Wade being turned over,
Right.
like real life happening.
Yeah,
you
real life.
see what I'm saying? So yeah, we can take these incidents and blow them up to be something bigger about free speech or freedom or whatever the hell people want to call it. But the reality is, somebody, people said stuff that other people didn't agree with, and somebody checked them for it.
Yeah, facts.
And that happens every day in the streets. You know what I'm saying? It happens every day at millions of locations for millions of people talking shit all the time. That's not special.
No.
If this wasn't prominent black people involved, this would not be a news story. Like I said, Ezra Miller arrested twice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For felonious assault. And we not even talking about for no reason, not because somebody sang off pitch. Because he didn't like the song they were
During
singing.
the karaoke.
Yeah, bro. Not because somebody said something about him personally or talked
Felonious
about
assault.
felonious assault, bro.
Yeah, felonious. Anything with Brittany Griner?
Yeah. Oh, listen, she's been listed as being wrongfully detained
Yeah.
in Russia, and so now they've finally moved to start negotiating for her release.
It's only been 2 months.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
She's only been locked down in Russia. Where's she?
Yeah,
at?
she in Russia.
Yeah.
Locked up in Russia for hashish, for some
Yes.
hash oil,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that. So,
So, yeah, prayers up for Brittany Griner.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody wants to be locked down like that.
If you don't know Russian.
Let me see. Do I want to do this last topic or do I leave it alone?
Nah, go ahead and incriminate yourself.
So it's not really incriminating myself. I had a question. I was sitting home alone and I was wondering. You know what I mean,
Okay.
my mind started going. And I was just wondering, are you guys aware of your Eskimo brothers?
Why would you think about this as you're sitting alone in your
I
crib?
just did, man. I was just like, yo, I wonder if people out there are like cool with their Eskimo.
Like, how does this work though, bro? Were you sitting around eating like a bowl of
Chicken wings.
Lucky Charms,
Chicken wings.
and you wasn't eating no damn chicken
your
wings,
bed?
bro.
Yeah, in my bed.
You wasn't eating no chicken wings. Don't try to be gangster now.
Chicken wings.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, let's not deflect from the question.
Nah,
The question is
why were you sitting around saying to yourself, I wonder if I know any other dudes that didn't smash the chicks I've been smashing.
Why I watch.
and are you cool with them?
Like, why would you think that, bro?
Are you cool with them? Do you have if you know somebody's dealing with your old work,
Yeah.
right? And y'all just happen to run into each other at the local watering hole.
Yeah.
Do you buy that person a beer?
Was we homies beforehand?
Right? Like, do we know each other? Do we like each other? Like, what's going on here?
Y'all got something in common?
But were we homies beforehand?
Not necessarily.
Because if we weren't homies beforehand, then nah. Why am I approaching?
You're a stranger,
man.
man. There's
Yeah.
no difference.
Okay. All right. I was curious.
That's wild.
I'm just
Why
curious.
did somebody buy you a drink recently? Like while you were at the local watering hole?
Nah. No, I was just wondering. I'm just saying.
Did you buy somebody a drink?
I was about to say they came out with the Corona and was like, yo, she did the thing, right?
I would buy a drink. I would send a drink over. I would. I mean, hey, that's a kickoff. That's a kickoff to a conversation.
Yeah, call Killer Cam. Be like, yo, bro, you
It's
good?
a kickoff to a conversation. Yo, you just never know what can come out, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, y'all never trade notes. Y'all never exchange notes.
No. What is wrong with you, bro? Do I need to do a wellness check for you, bro? Because apparently I can't leave you at home by yourself with chicken wings because this is the type of nonsense that comes out.
I'm just curious, bro. I'm just curious. Where do y'all stand on like? Nah, you know what? Never mind. Forget that. So.
No, nah, put it out there, bro.
So the Eskimo brother thing, like y'all not we're not sending.
So you would have a conversation with dude, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I might.
You'd spark it off?
Yeah.
How's that conversation go? What's that sound like?
What's good, bro? That's how it start.
What's good, bro?
Yo, you know such and such? Yeah. I know. Yeah, I do too. Mm-hmm. How that working out for you? That's it.
Yeah.
Listen, I've been to the bar with both of y'all, so I know how conversations go with both of y'all.
Listen, it don't start like that.
So,
It definitely don't start like that.
all
no
I'm saying-
Eskimo brother in
All I'm
there.
saying is, well, let's clear the air. As far as I know, neither one of y'all is my Eskimo brother. Let me say that. Let me start there.
Sure about that?
But I will say that I haven't really seen you at work. Now I think about it, I ain't really seen you at work, and I'm trying to dig deeper here, and you know, really trying to get to the root of what's causing you to yeah, man. Like
Bro, when have you ever known me to move in a pack of any kind?
that's true, yo. We
Facts.
not really like much of a hunter.
No,
All I think is a spotter, so I don't know.
it's not that I'm not much of a hunter. It's just I hunt alone.
Okay, you're a lone wolf.
Yes.
You're a lone wolf.
Hyper independent, remember?
That is true.
Chaz Michaels over here.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
So I'm just saying, bro. But you, on the other hand, and do not incriminate yourself. I will say this.
Man, so the Sixers are playing tonight, right?
Wow, look at the time.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of shooters, I wonder how that Tobias Harris is doing.
I will say,
let me get this dude off the hook
just
real
in
quick.
conversation. You do strike me as a person who would kickstart a conversation with an Eskimo brother. In under certain circumstances.
But I mean, it would have to be like, how cool are we? Like, if I know you, or just like, I know that dude, that's about it. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
if I don't know you, it's no big deal.
Okay.
Even if I do like know you, it's like,
I'm just curious,
I,
bro.
I-
Under circumstances.
I think it's weird at our big ages.
You
right?
think so?
Yeah, because at this point, I'm pretty sure we're only involving ourselves in relationships with people that we care about.
Yeah, well, that's
Right?
true. That is true. I will say that.
And so to have that conversation about somebody that you actually cared about with another person is different than just, oh, this was just a jump off. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a fling. Something we was doing when we was 21, 22 years old or something like that, and not caring.
in my 20s, this could have been a problem.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, as
Yeah.
dudes, right? Like,
Yeah.
we can kickstart conversations with other dudes off of just about anything.
Right.
So I'm saying, like, I don't think that this would be necessarily off the table as a conversation kickstarter. That's all I was saying. I'm not trying to make it awkward or weird.
Nah, it's definitely awkward or weird, bro. Because if somebody ever came up to me and was like, "Yo, so you was smashing my ex, huh?" What am I supposed to say to that?
Well, we already know you're going straight to defense mode.
You know what I mean? Like,
We know that that's the fact.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, she
that's
told me
happening.
your shit was trash, bro. Like, what? Get out of my face. Why are you here?
See, this was going to bring me to a conversation about pillow talk, but I don't think we have enough time to get
pillow-
into
Pillow
it.
talk?
What?
I mean, well,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
hey,
Eskimo
yo,
brothers, the
Yeah,
pillow
we
talk?
don't have enough time for
We're
it.
not
right?
we're not going a week without a pod no more because you want to come in here and talk about Eskimos and pillow talking. Nah. Fam.
So that's literally what's happening next week because I'm not going to be around. So we are going another week without pod.
We'll do it. We'll do it next week, B.
But nah, keep that in mind. Pillow talk. That's going to be in the next. Listen, I blame Esso, bro, because I told him to put topics in the notes,
Nah, that's true.
You
That's
feel
true.
me?
Yeah, this is your fault, bro.
and he was the one who was supposed to be the.
we having a whole pillow talk
Let me see
conversation.
what B
because
put
of
in.
this
Oh, shit. Rob got all this. I guess he did contribute.
Yeah,
I was about to say, I don't never look at the notes. I don't never
but
read the
nah,
notes.
yo, I just all jokes
not
aside
putting
though,
anything in
bro,
the
like.
notes.
Y'all never really like wanted to get into like the pillow talk with like your homie, like what happens, how they be knowing details about you and your situations, and they be telling their people about it. You never really got into that. No,
You gotta
never got into
explain that. You gotta explain that to me a little different because I don't understand.
I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, I'm
You
trying-
talking
I'm
to your
trying to
homies
understand,
and
like-
telling you about the relationship you were.
Yeah. So you got a homie.
Yeah.
That you tell everything about, you tell not everything, but a lot of stuff about, your relationships, people you're dealing with, whatever.
Okay.
And they got a girl.
Okay.
You not curious whether or not they girl know all the intricacies?
I just always assume she did.
Oh, you just automatically assume
Oh,
by
yeah,
default. By default.
yeah. No, I if I'm telling you something and you got a girl, I'm assuming that your girl knows.
How about you? You think that's standard?
Depends on the level of relationship with that girl.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean that's facts. Again, at our big ages,
Yeah.
I'm assuming that your level of relationship is something serious.
You think that's
Because
safe?
the
though?
friendship that we would have would supersede that until it's something that's serious with this chick.
But that's what I'm saying. But do you think that that's safe though?
It would depend on the level. Like, if you just meet somebody and you've been over 2-3 months, I'm not worried about the shit we do. But if it's somebody 2-3 years down the line and you constantly together, you have a full-blown relationship,
yeah.
I'm going to assume, I'm
Yeah.
going to talk to you together for that matter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a different, like, she's coming with us where we're going. She's hanging out with us now.
Yeah.
She's in our circle. That's different. But if it's just somebody you smash on the side just for Tuesday to Thursday kind of shit, relaxing on the weekends.
Did he say Tuesday through Thursday?
Yeah.
Relaxing on weekends, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Monday, nobody's Mondays.
Absolutely, bro. Yes.
Okay, Tuesday
You know
through
the rules?
Thursday. Tuesday through Thursday.
Facts. Now apparently he
TNT.
don't because he be at home with
Yeah.
the chicken wings.
TNT, right? Tuesday and Thursday. All right, cool. All right, listen, we done. I liked my chicken wings, but that's a conversation for another time. You got anything else you want to add to the conversation?
Nah, man, I'm good.
No more pillow talk.
Yeah, no.
Because all I can hear in my mind now is Zayn's damn song, and that shit's not stopping.
All right, so we got nothing else. We're wrapping up episode 74. Appreciate you guys. We're always looking forward to the feedback. Let us know how we're doing. Trust me, the people that hate me, they let me know. they are very, very loud.
hate
So I
your
need
ass.
so I need the people who support us to be just as loud. I appreciate it. All right, I could use that support publicly.
Haters are fans, bro.
They are, but you know
gotta listen to hate you.
Everybody's got a platform now, so they can hide behind a fake screen name and
Listen,
a dog
we
avatar.
ain't gotta hide no more. People is running up now.
And a dog avatar.
Right?
yeah.
Apparently, we can just walk up and slap people now.
Exactly. People, so run up. That's all.
Don't.
You know what I'm saying? Come see.
Run up and get done up.
Don't even comment. Just put the address. We'll be there.
Yeah,
you
listen,
go.
man. Come visit.
All right,
It's all
well,
good.
I got nothing else. So this is Julius from Earth. I'm signing out. Peace. You are now tuned in to the From Earth podcast. You are now tuned in